Yo, what's good, Commanders Nation? It's Saturday, January 17th, 2026, 2 in the morning, and we're here because this team straight up refuses to let us sleep, bro. While half the world is knocked out, we're out here thinking about the future of this franchise, the moves that are coming, and how every single decision could flip the script for the next few years. And let me tell you something, fam. Today, we've got 3 stories that go from tactical and exciting to absolutely epic when it comes to infrastructure. We're diving into how our new offensive coordinator might unlock one of our most underrated receivers. We're breaking down the plans for the most innovative stadium this planet has ever seen. And we're wrapping it up with a Super Bowl prediction from someone who knows exactly what it takes to hoist that Lombardi. So get comfy, turn on those notifications, and buckle up, because this one's gonna be good. Let's get it. Story 1. David Blough and the rise of Luke McCaffrey. Why David Blough could turn Luke McCaffrey into the next Amon-Ra St. Brown. Bro, let's cut straight to it. When Adam Peters drafted Luke McCaffrey in the 3rd round of the 2024 draft, we all knew we were getting a receiver with a very specific profile. He wasn't the kind of guy who was going to torch defenses on 40-yard go routes and leave jaws on the floor with raw speed. Nah, McCaffrey is a big slot receiver built to dominate short and intermediate routes, create quick separation, and explode after the catch. That was the plan. That was the dream. But let's be real, fam. In 2 seasons under the old system, that potential never fully came to life. McCaffrey flashed, sure, but he never had that consistent breakout we were hoping for when we picked him. Now, with David Blough stepping in as our new offensive coordinator, there's a legit reason to believe that's about to change. Why? Because Blough comes from Detroit, and something very interesting happened there with a receiver who has a nearly identical profile to McCaffrey, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And before you say, bro, are you really comparing McCaffrey to St. Brown? Let me break down why that comparison isn't as wild as it sounds. When St. Brown was drafted in the 4th round back in 2021, nobody expected him to become what he is now, an All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, and one of the most reliable weapons in the league. But in his first 8 games as a rookie, St. Brown was just decent. He had 27 catches for 250 yards. Nothing crazy, nothing that screamed future star. So what changed? Ben Johnson. After those first 8 games, Dan Campbell made a bold move. He handed the passing game over to Ben Johnson, who at the time was just the tight ends coach and had never called plays before. And bro, what happened next was straight up legendary. In the final 9 games of that season, St. Brown exploded. 63 catches, 662 yards, 5 receiving touchdowns, plus 61 rushing yards and a rushing TD. He finished his rookie year with 912 total yards as a 4th-round pick. That doesn't happen by accident. What Johnson understood, and what Blough learned working in that system, is how to maximize a power slot receiver. Both St. Brown and McCaffrey have unique skills to operate in that 0 to 9-yard zone off the line of scrimmage. They don't need to be the fastest guys on the field. What they need is a system that puts them in spots where they can use their size, their quick separation, and their ability to turn short catches into big gains. And here's the tactical key, fam. When a guy like McCaffrey becomes a constant threat in the short game, defenders have to get more aggressive in that area. They gotta bring more bodies closer to the line. And when that happens, what opens up? The deep field, the intermediate routes, the spaces where dudes like Terry McLaurin can eat against coverages that are too worried about stopping the short stuff. That's exactly what happened in Detroit. St. Brown didn't need to be a deep threat to impact the deep game because his presence in the slot forced defenses to adjust. And that created chances for others. And bro, imagine that in Washington. McCaffrey owning the slot, moving the chains, racking up YAC. And meanwhile, Terry's out there running verticals against safeties who are too busy thinking about Luke. That's deadly. Now let's be clear. This doesn't mean McCaffrey is going to become St. Brown. Nobody's saying that. St. Brown is quicker on tape, has better change of direction, and has proven himself as one of the most consistent receivers in the league for 4 straight years. But what we are saying is that McCaffrey has the tools to be that type of player, and Blau has the experience to unlock him. Think about it, bro. Peters drafted McCaffrey because he saw something special, but the old system didn't know how to use him. Now, we've got a coordinator who literally watched this exact process unfold with a similar player. Blau knows what concepts work, what routes bring out the best in a power slot, and how to build an offense where that kind of receiver isn't just a contributor. They're a centerpiece. And that's what's exciting, fam. We're not talking about some abstract potential. We're talking about a coordinator with a proven blueprint, working with a player who fits that blueprint perfectly. If Blau can get even 70% of what Johnson got out of St. Brown, this offense is going to take a massive leap. Plus, bro, think about the timing. McCaffrey's heading into year 3. That's usually when receivers make the jump. They've got 2 years of NFL experience. They understand defenses better. They've worked on their bodies, and they're ready to take on a bigger role. If there's ever a time for Luke to break out, it's now. And if there's ever a coordinator to make it happen, it's Blow. So yeah, fam, this hire is way more interesting than it looks on the surface. It's not just another coordinator. It's a guy from a system that works, with first-hand experience, developing exactly the kind of player we've got on our roster. And if everything clicks, a year from now, we might be talking about Luke McCaffrey as one of the most dangerous slot receivers in the entire NFL. Bro, just picture Jaden hitting McCaffrey on those quick routes, with Terry stretching the field. This could get real story. 2. The most innovative stadium on earth, the Washington Commanders' new stadium roof, will be unlike anything in NFL history. All right, fam, now let's talk about something that goes way beyond the field. Let's talk about the future of this franchise, not just in terms of players and coaches, but in terms of infrastructure, fan experience, and becoming one of the most forward-thinking organizations in pro sports. Because, bro, what Josh Harris and his group are planning for our new stadium is straight-up revolutionary. Ever since Harris took over, it's been clear that one of his top priorities was dragging the Commanders out of the basement when it comes to facilities. Northwestern Stadium, formerly FedEx Field, was, let's be honest, an embarrassment. Old, uncomfortable, soulless, and completely outclassed by the league's modern stadiums. While teams like the Cowboys flexed AT&T Stadium and the Vikings had US Bank Stadium, we were stuck in a relic. But that's over, fam, because the new stadium, set to rise on the old RFK site, isn't just going to compete with those places. It's gonna blow them away in pure innovation. Let's talk about the roof, because that's where things get crazy. According to Nikki Jabvala from The Athletic, the new stadium will have an anti-clastic roof shaped like a Pringle. And before you say, cool, weird-shaped roof, let me explain why this is a total game changer. Unlike US Bank Stadium in Minnesota, which has a transparent roof but is packed with steel beams that block views and kill the open feel, the Commanders Stadium will use a cable net system to hold up the roof. That means no massive support structures messing with your view. It's literally going to be the most transparent roof enclosing a large stadium anywhere on the planet, according to people directly involved in the design. Bro, do you get what that means? You'll be inside the stadium, protected from the weather, but it'll feel like you're outside. You'll see the sky. You'll get natural light. You'll have that open-air vibe that made the old RFK so special, but without the rain, snow, blazing heat, or freezing cold that made some games miserable. And it's not just about looks, fam. There are 2 big goals behind this design, both aimed at making the experience better for fans and the team. First, recreate the vibe of old RFK. Anyone who went to a game there knows that place had soul. It was loud, it was hostile, and fans felt like they were part of the action. That stadium literally shook. Part of that was because it was open, because there was that raw connection between fans, the team, and the environment. The new stadium wants to bring that energy back, but in a modern, controlled setting. Second, and this is huge, the transparent roof is going to amplify sound. That's right, bro. The structure is designed so crowd noise bounces off the roof and back down to the field. That means when 70,000 plus fans are screaming, it's going to be deafening for the visiting team. That's a massive home field advantage. The kind that can swing games, especially on third downs or in the playoffs. And bro, after years of playing in a stadium where visiting fans took over, this is straight up poetic justice. But wait, there's more. This stadium isn't just for football. With a closed roof and all this tech, the place will be able to host up to 200 events a year. Concerts, corporate events, conventions, and yeah, potentially a Super Bowl. Because now that we're getting a world-class stadium with a closed roof, Washington is finally in the conversation to host the biggest game in sports. And that's huge for the city, fam. Not just in terms of money and tourism, but in putting Washington back on the map as a top-tier sports city. For way too long, this franchise was forgotten. On the field and off. But with this stadium and the direction Harris is taking us, we're becoming relevant again in every way. Now let's be real. This isn't happening overnight. Construction's gonna take years. And in the meantime, we're still playing at Northwestern. But just the fact that these plans are in motion, that there's a real commitment to building something special, is a sign that this organization is thinking long-term. And after decades of instability, owners who didn't care about the fan experience, and mediocre facilities, this feels like a breath of fresh air. It feels like we finally have leadership that understands that to compete in today's NFL, it's not just about having good players. You need world-class infrastructure. You need to create an experience that makes fans want to show up. And you need to position yourself as a franchise that thinks big. And bro, a transparent, cable-supported roof, 70,000 plus capacity, designed to be the most innovative in the world. That's thinking big. So yeah, fam, while other teams are tweaking their old stadiums with the same old ideas, we're building something that literally doesn't exist anywhere else. And that, beyond wins and playoff runs, is a statement. The Washington Commanders don't just want to compete, they want to lead. Story 3, Von Miller and his Super Bowl prediction. NFL star Von Miller makes Super Bowl prediction. All right, fam, let's wrap this up with something a little lighter, but still worth talking about. It doesn't directly involve the Commanders, but it features a legend who spent time with us and knows exactly what it takes to win in January and February. Von Miller. Von, who had a short stint with the Commanders and couldn't help us reach the playoffs this year, is still one of the most respected voices in the league. And on his podcast Free Range this week, Miller dropped a pretty bold take about this year's playoffs. Specifically, the divisional matchup between the Denver Broncos and the Buffalo Bills. And bro, this game is personal for Von. He spent 10 years in Denver, won a Super Bowl there, and was MVP of that game when they beat the Panthers in 2015, helping Peyton Manning get his second ring. Then, he played 3 seasons in Buffalo, trying to help Josh Allen break the Bills' Super Bowl curse, though that never quite happened. So when these two teams face off, Von's got real emotional ties to both sides. He even called it the Von Bowl, joking that both teams are better off without me, which, let's be honest, is funny, but also kind of sad, bro. But jokes aside, Von made it clear this isn't just another playoff game. According to him, this matchup is going to be better than the actual Super Bowl, and he believes the winner of this game is going all the way to lift the Lombardi in February. I think whoever wins this game is going to the Super Bowl, Miller said. Then he got specific. The 2025 Broncos are a force to be reckoned with. I've got the Broncos winning this one by 10. Now, is this directly relevant to the Commanders? Not really, but there are a couple of interesting angles here. First, Von Miller is still a name that Washington fans respect. Even though his time here was short and didn't move the needle much, he's a 2-time champ, a Super Bowl MVP, and a future Hall of Famer. When he talks playoffs, people listen. Second, his prediction about the Broncos is interesting because it highlights something most folks aren't paying attention to. Denver, with rookie Bo Nix under center, has quietly built something solid. And if Von's right and they make it to the Super Bowl, That's a huge story, especially considering how many people wrote them off before the season even started. But more than anything, fam, this gives us some perspective. Buffalo and Denver are fighting for a Super Bowl. We're at home, watching the playoffs, thinking about the draft, free agency, and how to build for the future. And that's not a bad thing, bro, because while they're in win now mode, we're in build mode. We've got Jaden Daniels, we've got young pieces, we've got a new offensive coordinator with fresh ideas, and we've got a revolutionary stadium on the way. The future is bright for this franchise, even if the present stings a little. So yeah, Von Miller thinks the Broncos are going to the Super Bowl. Cool, but I think in a couple of years, it's gonna be US in that conversation. And when that happens, bro, all of this, the patience, the rebuild, the growing pains, it's all gonna be worth it. All right, Commanders Nation, there you have it. 3 stories showing different sides of this franchise. We've got the tactical future with Blau and McCaffrey, the structural future with the most innovative stadium in the world, and a little dose of perspective from Von Miller reminding us that the playoffs are still the ultimate goal. This team is building something special. Fam, it's not going to happen overnight, but the pieces are falling into place. And while other teams are chasing wins right now, we're building to win for years. So keep the faith, keep supporting, and get ready, because the best is yet to come. If you liked the video, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already,